set in stone. This is an idea, a concept that we're still working on the details of how it's going to work. And all we're really working toward is being able to pilot the model that we've created in different parts of the world so we can actually see how it works. It's significant change to our structure. And yet, it doesn't touch our core values because that's obviously who we are, what we are. We should not touch those. But maybe how we do it in different parts of the world could be done a little differently. And that's what we've really looked at. So what I want to do first, as I say, I really want to reinforce, don't walk away from here saying this is what Rotary is doing, because it isn't. What this is an idea that we want to try in different parts of the world. And we will get to do that, but we have to go to the council first to get, and we have an item going to the council in 22 to ask them if we can have a big enough pilot program to accommodate the idea. Okay, so remember that as we talk about it. And what we're now doing, which you'll see in the very last slide, you'll see the board decision. And part of what we need to do is just to talk to Rotarians, Rotaractors, Interactors around the world and get your feedback. You like it, you hate it, you don't need it, we love it, and we're getting that mix. But the idea is to learn from you so that we end up having a program that could work in different parts of the world. So that's really a key. So feedback's important. And with this many people and this time of night, I don't think we'll get an opportunity to have too much feedback tonight, but you're welcome to anytime send us an email. It's a real pleasure to have Director Jarita with us. She's heard me go through this a few times. So I understand if you fall asleep, but it is an exciting program. So I don't think you will. And Marcelo Hake is with us and he's on the committee and a really dynamic force on our committee. Really proud of the committee we have that's put this together. And understand, I'm gonna start showing some slides in a moment, but understand this committee, when it was formed 2 years ago, they were asked to think about what Rotary would look like if we started today. So don't look to just try to fix and change this and that. Instead, ask yourself with a blank page, what would we look like today if we started the organization? And that's where they started and that's how they came up. And some of you are going to look at this and you're going to think we've lost our minds. But I want you to just absorb and appreciate where we're coming from and why we're doing what we're doing. So I'm going to put this on the slides. So here you have the individuals who are on the committee. Keep in mind that this committee, this is where we started. We've added a couple recently because we need to expand our base of individuals from different parts of the world. It's really important we get feedback from different cultures, different languages, different regions to really end up with the product that could work around the world. We also have, within the last few months, added 12 subcommittees to this group. So you can imagine, we got a small enough group. We don't have 12 people on the committee, but we now have 12 subcommittees. And on each of those subcommittees, we've added individuals. And the idea, again, is to really start looking at detail. So we don't have all the detail in place. We have the concept and some detail, and we've identified a lot of the challenges we're going to have in moving forward. I'll talk about some of those later. But the idea is to, okay, we've got a concept.
You lost your voice, Mr. Rassin. Your microphone is closed.
Yeah, for some reason, my mic went off all by itself. Even my computer's tired of hearing me talk. So we have broken up into the smaller groups, put more people on to get more in, and we'll continue to do that and continue to get development. One question people are going to ask is how much is it going to cost? Well, we don't know yet because we need all the detail before we can come up with that number. So between now and the Council on Legislation in 22, we'll continue to develop the details, and in developing the details, we'll continue working with people around the world so that we could ask these questions and move forward. So like I said, don't jump into something you don't see and get concerned about it, because we may not see it yet either. I really want to make sure. It's a little unusual for us to go to the Rotary world before we've got most of the details in place. This we do not. We have a framework and ideas. So first, I want to walk through what we should be doing and should not be doing. Our core values. We all know our core values: fellowship, integrity, diversity, service, and leadership. We don't want those to change. We recommend they stay in place, and we honor them and reinforce them, if anything. Very important. We'll talk later about our diversity, equity, and inclusion. Also extremely important. That's a major part of the new program that we're doing. So how did we get here? Well, I mentioned diversity, equity, inclusion. We don't have the diversity we should have in many parts of the world. Our clubs still, I mean, we've had it in our bylaws and constitution for many years that we should represent our communities, but many clubs don't. They need more closer advice from others and guidance on how to do that. So we want to address that, and so that we truly are the diverse organization that we should be in all of our communities, not just as an organization. Wherever we talk, we always talk about the differences around the world. And that brought us to, well, if we regionalize, then we could do some things differently. We could do it the way it might work in one country or region could be different than the way we do it in another country or region. And that's really a base concept that we've got here, is we want to regionalize Rotary. And usually we don't get a lot of challenges on that. Many people we've talked to always say, yes, they understand the need for regionalizing. When you've got 200 countries in an organization, each country is going to have different culture, language, geography, and maybe do some things different, and maybe that could work better for them. And of course, we've been working on an action plan as to how to look at and how to look at our challenges, our weaknesses, our strengths, our opportunities, and our threats, and put a plan together that addresses all of them. So first, now I'm going to go through some of our challenges. You realize that this is the number of people that we have lost out of Rotary over the last 10 years. We've lost more people who've come into our organization and left our organization, more of them than we have in our organization today. If we had just kept a small percentage of that, we would be a much bigger and more dynamic organization than we are today. So one of our primary weaknesses is that we have this revolving door, and we're not engaging our Rotarians, our members, to stay with us long enough. They come in, they see, and they identify more with their own local Rotary club than they do with Rotary International. I'm sure we all appreciate that. So it's the Rotary clubs that need to represent what the values of Rotary better than they do today. And that's, again, a core of where we're coming from here. So our member retention worldwide, when you look at how we have not retained our members over the years, and this is over an average over the last 5 years. In the first 2 years, you'll notice that's when the highest number of Rotarians leave. So they come, they join a club, we don't meet their expectations, and they leave. And we've had many surveys asking people, why are you leaving? Why aren't you happy? But a lot of it, well, not all of it, but a lot of it boils down to Rotary is not meeting my expectations, so I don't need to be a member of the club anymore. And over time, the longer we stay in Rotary, the more we have that passion to stay and do good and work with our Rotary club. It becomes part of our lives. And even when you ask around the world in our survey, the most important was enhancing participant engagement. So even our clubs appreciate we need to do better at participant engagement. And when we say participant, because we're trying to move away from just Rotary clubs. It's not just about the Rotary and the Rotarian member. It's about Rotaractors, Interactors, and Rotarians. So those are all our participants. And I'm sure you know that soon we're going to launch a pilot on a group who could join Rotary without even being in a club. Hopefully that starts soon. It would have started except for COVID-19. So that's why we say participants. That's all our members and all our different types of clubs, as well as non-participant in a club. But you can see it's still considered a very important priority for us, and yet we have a lot to do in that particular area. When you look at our gender breakdown, again, going back to diversity, I believe we started first with doing everything we could to increase our gender balance. Some countries of the world were doing well. We continue to grow and improve. Other parts of the world were not doing so well with our female balance. And we need to look at that carefully and see how are we going to continue to grow gender balance. And that means, again, you got to look at the clubs. What is each club doing to improve their diversity? And that means not only with gender, but also age, race, ethnicity, et cetera. So this just gives you where we started. In my mind, we started talking to the Rotary world about gender first. Then we started talking to the Rotary world, about the host just disabled my screen sharing.
Okay, we're gonna disable because I think we have a hacker on, so we're gonna disable the sharing and we're gonna give you a co-host.
Exactly.
So, okay, go ahead, Bez, disable the sharing. Disable the sharing. Bez, are you there? Bez?
I already did, Shab.
Okay.
You can adjust,
yeah, I disabled it. So
and then I'm gonna give Barry. So it's okay. We're ready for them. And I'm gonna put you as a co-host. Assign co-host. So go ahead and you can share again, please.
Okay. Okay, so again, moving on from diversity, it's again about reaching every club and making clubs appreciate the need to be more diverse. When you can look at the age of clubs in countries, you could see how in some countries we have a lot of new clubs, such as India. Others, we're just not starting the new clubs. And what happens is if we don't bring in younger members and the average age of clubs is much older, then the average age of our Rotarians is growing. And that's a concern. India stands out with the younger clubs, newer clubs. They really added many, many clubs in recent times, which is really good. And we need to be doing more of that. But it's really about getting younger members in our clubs to get a balance so we represent our communities. When you look at our percentages as regional leaders of men and women, interesting that our RPICs are a little better, but we still have a long way to go to get our leaders with the gender balance that we should have. We got a lot of criticism when I was president because we had no females on the board. Well, it all starts with leaders in clubs, leaders in districts, and moving up in our organization. And so we need to get them at this level to make sure that we have that balance and they have a bigger pool for being president of Rotary International. Our value proposition, it's about, we want to create a program that's going to give better Rotarian and Rotaractor engagement. through direct and regional support. So we want to be more direct working with the Rotary and Rotaract clubs. Now, I'm not leaving out Interact, but they're still a program. So we'd work with them as a program. But Rotaract and Rotary are both members of Rotary International. So we need directly into the clubs, and we want to bring more of a regionalized support so they don't have to all go all the way to Evanston to get support, but have a regional board to help them. So a lot, as I said earlier, a lot of this is regionalization of our products and our services. I mentioned already, we need more diversity in our leadership, and that goes to gender and age. Why not have younger members be able to move up the organization faster so that we don't all end up as presidents of Rotary who are my age. We could get them a lot younger if we started them younger. And again, in some cultures, that isn't looked upon favorably because there's seniority is very important, and we understand that. So we've got to work this so that it works in all cultures. We want to create a clearly defined path for leadership development and growth. Right now, we all know you got to be club committee chairs, you got to be a club president, you want to be an assistant governor, you want to be a governor. There's a path. And in the new system, there also will be a path, but hopefully actually a wider path to allow more people to get on that path for leadership development and growth. The election disputes and that kind of thing, the administrative areas that go all the way to Chicago, they need to stay at the regional level and let the regions, because they understand why they're there and what's happening. So we want to leave them with there, and we wanted to develop something that has better efficiencies on the way we work. So this gives you a feel for the organization. This is the organization chart. We have not done anything about talking about the Rotary International Board of Directors or the Rotary Foundation Board of Trustees. That was not within our purview. So they stay the same. Then directly under them would be a global volunteer cadre. Now the difference here is we put all those coordinators we saw in an earlier slide, the RRFC, all our acronyms, the RRFC, the ARC, the RC, all of those coordinators would go into this cadre. A couple of differences. One is to get in the cadre, you have to be certified as an expert in that area of Rotary. And we would have a program to certify those individuals as experts in that area. So if grants is in the cadre, then they'd be certified as an expert in grants. And they wouldn't be just going out generally to the Rotary world. Instead, and you'll see this when we get lower down in the chart, we would be pulling them from the cadre to help individual clubs. Right now, many of the coordinators work with districts. We want them to get closer to the clubs to help the clubs to grow and develop. So that's a big part of it. So the cadre is a significant change in concept, but those specialists are still there to support the clubs in their growth. Obviously, the secretariat is still there and still provides resources. Then we get to the regional level. And we'll talk more about the details of the region in a few more slides. But at the regional level, we'll have a regional council made up of a number of members, a chairman, a vice chairman. They'll have committees, and they will be responsible for a much broader grouping of clubs than districts are today. So they could be, for instance, the France might be a region. We haven't decided what the regions are as yet. We've got some recommendations and we're working on them, but we want to talk with every director to get their input on what they think their region from their part of the world should be. But so there'll be a board, and on the board, on the regional council, they will report to the Rotary National Board of Directors as a whole, not to an individual director. So that takes some of the onus off the director so they can do more about policy and oversight of the organization as a whole. The regional council will be more responsible for the administration of that region of the Rotary world. And like I said, they would have council committees. Also, the members of the regional council will be elected by the clubs. And again, that's up for discussion as well. But right now, that's what we're suggesting. And each position on the regional council would be based on a skill set of some kind. In other words, you need somebody from finance to handle the treasury, you need somebody who knows a foundation, somebody who knows membership. So it'd be a skill-based board to oversee the region. And again, we're going into a little more detail on those. Then under the regional council, you'll have leader. Now, we're not going to leave this title there, okay? We do that because we need to come up with what is the best title for this next person. There would be a person responsible directly for a grouping of clubs. And of course, we would have an elect for that. So we're just calling them leader for now, and there'll be a leader elect. So we've got, and this would be a 2-year position, not a 1-year position. And they'd be responsible for a small group of clubs of probably 25 to 30 clubs. The idea here is, and this is a fundamental difference, that this individual has the time to work directly with each one of the clubs that they're responsible for, 25 to 30. I use my district as an example. If you add our Rotary clubs and our Rotaract clubs, we've got about 150 clubs in our district. Well, how does a district governor, even with assistant governors, motivate 150 different clubs? How do they get into really what is the problem and then help them solve the problem? So we want to bring these leaders in. Some are looking at this as, well, that's just the old assistant governor. Not really. This person does no administration. This person is there specifically to motivate and evaluate and guide and provide leadership for the clubs to help them grow into strong clubs. Too many of our clubs around the world aren't as strong as they could be. And if we have that direct motivation for the clubs, we believe we can help them grow. And when I say the clubs, I'm talking about Rotaract clubs, Rotary clubs, and of course, those non-club groups that I talked about earlier. Now, one of the questions is, well, could a Rotaractor be a leader? So absolutely, why not? But that's a discussion in some parts of the world. That isn't a popular idea. So we've got to talk that out. But if, like in our grouping, we have so many Rotaract clubs, we would need Rotaract leaders to bring them down to 25 clubs to lead. So that's a part of it. So this is a fundamental structure that you see on this organization chart. That's why I wanted to take some time to really make sure you see and digest what this looks like, because this is the fundamental difference right here. But let me move on. So at the regional level, we're talking 20 to 40 regions around the world. The first cut we did, we came up with 27 regions, but we're already talking, when we talk to individual directors, we're already seeing that we need to change that. And that's going to go up, not down. So in India, we suggested 2 regions. I think we'll probably end up with 4 regions. And we're going to have a focus group of all the leaders, the president-elect, as well as the directors and directors-elect, just to talk about India, so that they have the input into what they think can work in their country. And that's what's really important, that we bring in those people on the ground who know what their culture and their region might look like to make it work. The idea is to provide the flexibility to address their specific needs in that part of the world. And if we do that, then they get a better experience. The regional councils and the staff will be more effective by grouping participants into regions. And we use these as how to define, and Marcelo's on the call, and he was fantastic at helping us define what culture means. And using that definition of culture and looking at the different languages and what the needs and focus are in that region of the world, and the geography and the efficiency, we use those to come up with what the region should look like. So it's, if you get it broken down only into language, then we have too many regions. So we're going to have some mix of languages, but we want to have as much similarity as possible in culture, language, needs, geography, and efficiency. So that's one of the challenges we're working on right now, is what is the best regions to get started. Then, hard to read this. Okay, then these are what we first suggested as the first go round. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because this is going to change. This isn't going to stay the same because this is just to begin the discussion as to what the regions should be. And we came up with, as I say, 28 on here, but I suspect we're going to get to 35 or 40 before we're finished with this. So we have the names, we've got the details, how many are in each year. I know everybody will know that for our zones, the definition of a zone is an equal number of members around the world, pure and simple. So in many zones, we mix up a lot of differences, and maybe that's what makes us strong. So we got to remember that our diversity is one of our strengths, but if we redid that, not based on number of members, but based on culture, geography, and the other things, then we might have a better working region than we do today in the zone. We aren't touching the zones. The zones would still be responsible for electing directors and that kind of thing, and being on the board of directors. So again, we don't touch that. So by doing it this way with the recommendation we had, then where you saw the leader and the leader-elect, that would, right now we're just calling it a section. So each region would have sections. And yeah, we're gonna improve the terminology, okay? Forgive me for that. Right now, again, I say it's concept. So that would mean we would have 1,874 sections if we went with the regions we recommended. Each one of those would have a leader. So now we have, instead of 538 governors and all their assistant governors, we have the 1,874 sections, as well as all the board members on the regional boards. The biggest section we would have was in India. Again, we really need to change that and reduce. That's just too many sections, we believe, even in a similar culture. And so you can see how India jumps out as having more sections and the biggest clubs and that kind of thing. So that you can see we're looking at the detail so that we really could understand what we're doing before we do it. That's really important. So again, we come back to how we're going to do this and how it relates to what we do today. Then our timeline, as you can see, we have to go to the Council on Legislation. And keep in mind, it's very important to understand, we're not going to the Council on Legislation to approve this model. What we're going to the Council on Legislation for is to allow us to do a pilot that's big enough to accommodate this kind of structural change. That's really important. So the council will only be deciding, yes, let's try this. And by then we'll know who is going to pilot. So we actually could talk about that. Today we have some areas, some regions of the world have already petitioned the board to be a pilot. Word gets out and some are very anxious to be one of the pilots. And I'll give you an example, and somebody here is from Australia. They're very interested in developing a pilot for that part of the world, for their region. They've had membership growth issues and challenges, and they see this as a possible way to address their challenges and improve it over time. So then we go to the council. Hopefully the council will allow us to try this. And again, we try it in a few places in the world. And then from there, we can have to take time to finish the detail of the pilot. So we really wouldn't be able to start till July of 24. And so we're talking a long time out. And I do get some senior leaders who tell me they'll be dead before this happens. Yeah, okay. If you're going to make this fundamental change, you want to take your time, you want to do it right, you want to listen to Rotary around the world and tweak it as we go to make sure that we're really addressing our challenges in a positive way. That's really important. So that's why we're taking our time to do this. Some of us would like to jump into it, but reality is we need to involve 1.2 million plus 250,000 Rotaractors and get their input. So as we move forward, that we know that at least a lot of people think, yes, this could work. And this could make our organization better and stronger. And that's what it's all about. So what the board, you'll see the board decision in a second. We're having individual sessions with small groups of directors. So grouping them, as I said, the Indian group will meet with them individually. How does it affect you? And we don't want to talk much. We want to listen. We want to hear them and get their feedback. And we want to do that with all the directors, directors-elect, directors nominee, trustees, trustees-elect, and start with them. And we've already started with a number of them. So we get their feedback into what they like, what they don't like, what we should change, what we shouldn't change. And we want to do more and more Rotarian and Rotaractor focus groups. I can't call this a focus group because we won't really have time to get the feedback that we're going to need. So you will hear about focus groups going forward. And that's really critical to the development of the plan. And this was the decision by the board. Again, they're not saying make this model happen. What they're saying is that they're allowing our committee to continue to develop the proposed structure and report back to the board. And the board's been really good at saying, come on back and keep telling us how it's going. And I've had the honor to report to the board, I think 3 times in the last year. So they know exactly what the committee is doing. And we started a number of focus groups. We did France, Italy, Australia this week. So this is ongoing. So you can see in the next item, we're talking about conducting a series of focused small group discussions. We continue that with the senior leaders, and we continue that with Rotarians and Rotaractors. So that's basically fundamentally the structure and the idea of what we're doing. As I say, it's important to appreciate this is concept, this is idea, this is now working up the details. I'll give you one example of a detail that we need to work out how to address. In Australia, every club is an incorporated entity, okay? And the district is an incorporated entity. When we juggle it like this, how do we deal with those as incorporated entities? How do we deal with the DDF? DDF is owned by the district, and therefore the clubs of that district, when we go regional, it's no longer that grouping. Those clubs still have to benefit from their DDF. So we've got to figure out the transition plan is going to be extremely important to making this work. And during the pilot, of course, we have to run the traditional in many parts of the world, and we have to run the pilots and then compare the two and make sure that we are going to get a better product at the end of the day. So if you have time, I'd be happy to take any questions. Don't shoot me, okay? I'm just trying to bring you an early concept, earlier than we usually go to the Rotary world. But I think it's really important we get feedback at an early time so we can adjust over time. Thank you.
President, thank you very much. You always shine like a star. And we call our Rotary people of action, and you are a peacemaker, peace builder. I would like to have Jurida, Director Jurida, would you please also enlighten us with a couple words? What you think good for the order. And afterwards, we'll go to our governor, Greg Jones, also to comment, and then we'll open it for the question. Go ahead, please. Director Jurida, whatever you have. So you can say happy holidays. You can say, can you unmute Jurida, please? Unmute, yes, Director.
You are unmuted, please. Unmute. Yes, please.
I tried to. I thought that was very clever of you, Shab, asking me to comment and not letting me unmute myself. Thank you, Barry. That was, yes, I have heard it before. But thank you. I really cannot stress enough, as Barry said, this is a concept, this is an idea, nothing is in stone, and feedback is very, very important to hear your feedback. And I think one of the things that change management isn't easy. Will this work? Will this model be the model? Not necessarily that it will be the model. It might be the model. We don't know, but we need to hear from you. Just as Barry said, I think you did a very good job presenting this concept, this idea. It is a work in progress. It's under construction. And a lot of people are working on it. The board's looking at it, and we will continue to look at it. Thank you. I wasn't prepared to talk, but thank you, Shab.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you always. Governor Greg, would you have a couple words to say? Governor Greg, can you please unmute?
Sure. Well, the host has to unmute us, so that there's always going to be a delay there. Past President Barry, thank you for the presentation. Really interesting. I've heard a little bit about this, but that was the most detail I have heard so far. And I'll be interested to follow it as it goes through the process. And just thank you for looking at this. You know, the one thing I think of is if we've learned anything this year, it's that we have to be able to adapt to thrive. And so I'm happy to see that Rotary is taking serious that we need to adapt to thrive. And I am hopeful that this will come out to be a very positive development for Rotary in the future. I love this organization and I want to see it continue. So anything that's going to make it better is good for me. So thank you.
Thank you, Governor. As you can see on this meeting, we have governors, we have members, we have Interact, we have Rotaract from across the world. And because of the fact this pandemic hits and every club or every district did their thing to keep the Rotary spirits going in the world. Our club belongs to over a combination of over 35 clubs in one cluster and 25 clubs in the other cluster. So and then we have Rotaract that from all over the world, Rotaract for Peace, Rotaract for Kindness, and we just held a big conference for World Peace Music Festival. So you can see that we all connected more, and we can see that the Rotaractors, the women role and the Rotaractors role has been increased tremendously in the past 8 to 9 months. We all working together. The Rotarians, women, Rotaract, Interact. We have young people as young as 6 years old participated in the peace conference with singing the other day for peace. So I want to thank all of you. As you can see, probably we have 6 continents over here with different leaders, and there are a lot more leaders joined in afterwards. Because of time, we're not gonna introduce everybody else that joined afterwards, but please raise your hand or put your question in the chat. Either we can let you ask the question, make them short and sweet, and Alberto, Bez, and Kishan will take those questions and we'll give them to President Barry. Thank you again, all of you. You are awesome. You rock. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Go ahead.
Here is Kishan Goenka. President Barry, before I start the questions, I have one question. I joined Rotary in 81, then 9 years I was out of Rotary. Again, I joined 3 years back. I find the connect between the common Rotarian and as you become DZ onwards is missing. I found DZs doesn't recognize their presidents. You ask a DZ about zone, he doesn't know anything. Rotarians in a club doesn't know anything about what is zone. And as we move up, the connects is getting lost. How do we address this?
Well,
and that's honestly, the reason you very nicely mentioned it.
Yeah,
I am asking forthright, but you very nicely mentioned it.
Honestly, that's partly where we started because there's a disconnect between Rotary International and the Rotary Club, we believe. And we wanted to create a structure that narrows the gap between the two so that there's more of an ability to bring information and motivation and knowledge to Rotary clubs and Rotaract clubs in a much more efficient way than we do today, so that they stay involved. Many people, I mean, a lot of clubs, they don't even know what district they're in, who their governor is, or that there is even a Rotary National Board. Some parts of the world are very good at it. Other parts, nobody cares. We need to get more consistency out and reach the club. We all know the clubs are the ones who do the work of Rotary. The rest of us, we talk, we help, but it's the clubs that do the work of Rotary. The stronger all of our clubs are, and the more clubs we are, the more we change our world to make it a better place. So that's really part of the force that we want to create in this structure.
Thank you. We have a question from Kamil Kanji. He's asking, President Barry, you missed interactors in your plan, which are more than Rotaractors.
No, I did not miss interactors, okay? What I explained early on, if you were here, is that Interact is a program of Rotary. Rotaract clubs are members of Rotary International, just like Rotary clubs. What's important is by having a more direct touch to the Rotary clubs and Rotaract clubs, part of that discussion will be, what are you doing with your Interact clubs so we can help to grow Interact and help them to benefit from our leadership development, et cetera, et cetera. So the model itself looks at members of Rotary International, which are Rotaract and Rotary.
Thank you. The next question is from Rosemary Argan from District 5030. The question is, after COVID, what would be the new normal for Rotary?
You know, thank you, Rosemary. Rosemary and I go way back as well. So I was scared what she would ask. The reality is we're not going back to the way that we used to be. I don't think that's ever going to happen. We have found a much more efficient and effective way to communicate for many parts of things we do. And we're going to keep that. Many clubs are already saying, we're going to do a hybrid. So some people can still do this. Some people will meet in person. And how long that'll last, who knows? But the reality is we can accomplish a lot by doing this, and we're learning from it. And I compliment the Rotary National Board of Directors. They've looked very seriously at this model of the virtual world and have made a lot of recommendations to clubs as how to benefit from it. It was just a video that was done in California. I got it yesterday. And if you have an opportunity, get a hold of that, because it shows how a club could work and how you can bring the world to the club today easier than you ever could before. And while Zoom is one way to do it, I've been on at least 5 different programs that allow to bring that interconnectivity internationally. And so this has got to be part of our future one way or another. So I'm not sure we want to try to figure out what a normal will be. We're just going to move along with this in what is the best way that our organization can continue to make sure we're engaging our members so that we can grow our members, grow our Rotary clubs, grow our Rotaract clubs. We've got to help our Rotary Foundation get the donations they need, and that's a challenge right now. How are we raising funds? We've got to figure that out and share information. So we've got a lot to do as an organization to reach Rotary clubs and guide and advise. And if they had somebody close by who could do that on a regular basis, that might help them.
Next, would you please take Claudette Salzbach. Her hand is up and your microphone is unmuted. Please go ahead.
Yes, hello, dear all. Dear President Barry Rassin and all people here, I will ask if we couldn't make it happen faster. For example, like this year, we had different circumstances and we adapted and we are doing it. But like in another example, for 2 years, we are presenting to the Council of Resolution a demand to include elderly in the areas of focus, because we cannot make projects for the elderly, for old age people, homes and all this stuff. And the first year we got half of the votes. This year, 200, we presented it twice. And we don't know if people read what is happening there, if all the people who are voting for their districts, how committed they are to changes and to really carefully go deep inside of each of the demands and try to understand why. It's the first time we had a note there made probably by the organizers of the council that it would cost $200,000 to change the system if they would add elderly there. Then we try to suggest maybe then put together with children and women. And so what happens? 2 years lost because it was not approved. And what people understood about it. So how could we make the changes happen faster and get a deeper involvement of the people in charge of the changes?
You know, when you talk about change in our organization, you have to accept that the way we have developed our rules over many, many years, we have boxed ourselves into a corner where we have to wait for the council on legislation to make a decision. And basically you're talking 4 years. So you can't make major change because you have to get your items in a year and a half before the council meets. So it takes 4 years to make any kind of major change. And if our council is conservative, then it's very hard to make those kind of changes. On the other hand, they can't change everything that every part of the world wants them to do. They do try to have some consistency that works around the world. And they're the ones who have the wisdom to make those kind of decisions. So it's a real challenge for us to make change. There's no question about it. And you know, it's the only way we change that is if the council legislation changes it. And that's a challenge. But then if every district around the world started sending resolutions to change the council, that at least would be addressed by the council. So that's something that parts of the world could consider. But there's a number of individuals in the world who get frustrated because we don't make changes at the council the way they would like them made. Right or wrong, the idea is that it is their decision. That's the way our world works. The Council on Resolutions has helped us significantly because now they're meeting every year and they can send ideas and resolutions to the board of directors, and the board of directors listens very carefully to what they say. And so that's really a big improvement. Now the question is, could we somehow do a council every year? Interesting challenge. Hard to have a debate by phone, but that's a whole nother conversation. I'm personally, I'm in favor of change. I think change is needed and we need to do it, but we've got to do it in a careful way that's going to work in the 200 countries that we work with.
Next, fastest the Governor Manzoor, would you please go ahead?
Thank you very much, President Barry. I could see the passion when you are speaking about Rotaractors. And I have heard you several times before equating Rotaractors just like Rotarians. So my question is, if they are just like Rotarians, why call them Rotaractors? Why not simply focus on inviting younger professionals with a different due structure and also giving them the freedom or developing a model that will work for the young professionals, for the young people who are either in college or they are out of college, fresh out of college. They have families, they may have little children, to develop a model that will be more relevant to that age group. And the due structure as well, and the meeting structure. The Rotary has not really adapted to change. World has changed. Everything has changed around us. Much of what we have today was not here 3 years ago. But Rotary has cast its feet in the stone and not willing to change with the times. And so I am suggesting that your committee consider not creating another group, Rotaractors, but Rotarians, because that's what we want them to be. And just develop a new structure of dues and meeting times and a structure of meetings as well, because that will help us incorporate them into the general Rotary rather than a separate group and nurture them. They still consider themselves as a second-rate citizens. And I am really interested because next year I will be heading up the Rotaractor program for my district. And I'm really proposing that we do something about this so we could attract more. And my goal is to have maybe 15 to 20 Rotaract clubs for our district. And I really need some help and guidance because the due structure always leaves them cold. And so please help us. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, understand our committee did not create Rotaract as a different group. The Council on Legislation made a decision at the last council that Rotaract clubs are members of Rotary International. Okay, now that's number one. And since that time, we've made a lot of changes. The board has made changes. The trustees have made changes to our policies and procedures to bring more equity between Rotary clubs and Rotaract clubs. But when you talk to Rotaractors, you realize that they want to be part of our organization, but they want to kind of put their feet in the water and test us first. And by doing it with people of their own age group only, it gives them more comfort and an ability to really learn at their own pace. So they want to be a little different, but able to do the same things that Rotary does. And that's so when you talk to Rotaractors, they want to be, in fact, they'd like to change the name from Rotaract to something, but we don't have a good name. But they want Rotaract. We have over 10,000 Rotaract clubs. And so far, they're still in their 20s, basically, although we took away the maximum age. If what we need to do, now that we've changed policy and procedure, we come to the hardest part, and that's changing culture. Okay, we need Rotary clubs to change their culture so that young people want to be a member in the Rotary clubs. They look around too many times. Every country I went to, I asked Rotaractors, why aren't they joining Rotary clubs? And at first they laugh, and then they say, we look at the clubs and they're much older than us. They're boring meetings. It costs too much. They don't want to do that. So the idea is to give them an opportunity to become a passionate Rotary person in Rotaract. And then our Rotary clubs need to change their cultures so they're more welcoming, they listen more to our young professionals, and they adapt to what they need so that our clubs are more relevant to young people. When that happens, our Rotaractors would then join Rotary clubs and they'll continue the journey of service through Rotary. That'll happen, but it's up to us now to change our culture. And in some countries of the world, that's still a major challenge. You look at in the Caribbean, we've got 54 Rotaract clubs whereas you go over to Florida and no district has more than 5 or 6. We're not attracting young people to the organization in any way in some parts of the world. And the US is one of the weaker ones. They need to really figure out what is the answer to attracting young people to join. And by using Rotaract, you bring them into a grouping of like-minded individuals. And that's a great way to get started when you're young.
We're gonna take Dato Mustafa, Rotarian. Dato Mustafa, could you raise your hand? Let me bring you up, because your hand has been up for a while. And I am gonna ask you to unmute, please, and ask your question. And we'll go back to you, Kishan. Alberto has a question afterwards, and Kishan, you can take it over for a question. Unless, President, I don't know how much time you have. I think this is a big subject. You know,
yeah, we have a host of questions, big list of questions.
So I don't know if you had dinner, have your happy hours or not.
I'm okay. We can go a little while. What's interesting is we're actually getting off the topic of the model itself. We're talking about a lot of problems in Rotary. I don't have all the answers. Okay, let's understand that. But I think Norbert really wants to answer.
Yes, go ahead, Dato, please.
Yeah.
You're unmuted.
You are unmuted.
Do I have the mic now?
Yes, you have the mic. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask past President Barry a question. Because in a way, RIBI is in a way regionalized. And RI retained its constitutional powers. And yet, we do not see RIBI thriving under the international organization. In many ways, for example, the clubs in RIBI is having the age problem you refer to. Then the other concern I have is that as we strengthen the organization regionally, how to ensure that the global impact of international Rotary is enhanced? And my third question is, do you visualize that the Rotary Foundation will also be regionalized? Thank you.
You got half an hour to answer, President.
You guys answered tough questions. Global impact, like I said, our core values can't change. We must be the global organization that we are today. We must maintain our 4-star rating with Charity Navigator. Our Rotary Foundation is one of the top 10 foundations in the world, and that has to be maintained. So part of what we have to come up with is what things the regions cannot do. Okay, they can't change some of the fundamentals of who we are. And the funds, we can't, in other words, we can't have a region that starts their own foundation and doesn't use the Rotary Foundation. That won't be allowed. We've got to support our Rotary Foundation. And it isn't the clubs support the Rotary Foundation, but it's Rotary International is who the clubs are part of. So that's a little different. Now, when you talk about our RIBI, it's interesting because they are very interested in being one of the first pilots. We've had a number of discussions with them, and they're talking about it in depth. They're already making changes in how they're structured. And because they already have a different structure than the rest of the world, they think they could make some changes early and don't have to wait as long as the rest of us. They've already changed their name, by the way. They're no longer RIBI. They're now GBNI, Great Britain and Ireland. Okay, they've already changed their name. And you know, that's a fundamental thing. When you change your name, that starts to send messages that we're different. And that's part of change management. So that's an interesting and important factor. So we're working very closely with the leaders in GBNI, still practicing getting used to that. And we're working with the leaders in Australia and New Zealand because they also want it. And both have a serious problem with membership. And certainly in the UK, their average age, last I checked, was 69. But the good news is a year and a half ago, it was 74. So they're making changes. And we need to keep making those kind of changes and make global impact. Thank you.
Alberto, go ahead with the question.
Yes, thank you. Barry, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very informative. It was very impacting, I would say, because those news, unless we had not this channel, it would have taken months, probably years, until a Rotarian like myself will hear this. That's a fact. Yep. It's only because of this pandemic that we discover these ways of communication, which is also a way that we have proven that really the Rotarians are, as you mentioned, the core of Rotary. Rotary cannot function without Rotarians, without clubs. I mean, we can question some other parts of the structure, but certainly not clubs or not Rotarians. To the point that, you know, I just wanted to make a comment and perhaps entice you for challenge a little bit, is very, very interesting, this new way of incorporating someone as a non-club participant. I mean, it's a little bit challenging in my mind. Even I consider myself a young Rotarian, you know, in a way, but how would I do community service without my fellows in a club? That's one thing. Second is that when I, my fellow from Peru said, I'm also a son of Rotarian. My father was a Rotarian in Venezuela, back when Venezuela was a country, not what it is today. Sorry for the comment, but I never lose the opportunity to say it. And the fact is that even in those times, there were some challenges. And of course, the communication was not as fluid today, to the point that, you know, it was very structured. And I think we are, as you said, you said that we are kind of we have boxed into a situation with the council legislation. But I believe that it's more a mindset issue. I believe that we are opening our eyes. Some of my fellow Rotarians over here, we are meeting almost every week because we have found that even within Rotary, there are some Rotarians that think alike, some more than others, including yourself, by the way, Barry. How are we going to really push this forward without breaking? I'm going to be very blunt in the verb, without breaking some dishes in the kitchen, in the Rotary kitchen. You know, I'm kind of worried. And by the way, I like very much this because our core business is community service. So I see that the cadre, you know, is really a way to improve our service to the community, the quality of the service of our community, which is needed very much. Yep. So
okay, you said a few things here. First, on the non-club participant, that wasn't our committee that did that. And, you know, it goes to what you started with, that if it wasn't for situations like this, the average Rotarian wouldn't have any clue what we're doing. And the non-club participant was a pilot that was approved 2 years ago. And they've been developing that. And they were supposed to start early this year, but COVID-19 stopped them. And they're supposed to start the pilot in, I believe, Houston, Texas, and a few other cities of the world. The idea is you go online, you join as a member of Rotary, but not a club. And the way you fulfill your service is you find whatever service projects are going on in your community or wherever, and you go do them. So all you have to do is do service. And that's what Rotary is all about. And some people, some parts of our younger generations, that's what they want to do. They just want to do service. They don't want to go to meetings. So that was the first one. And you talk about mindset, you know, I totally agree. We have 1.2 million, actually I like to say 1.4 million members. When you look at Rotaract and Rotary, we got to stop talking about them differently. They are different, but when it comes to members now, it's 1.4 million of us. And all of us are leaders in our own right, and all of us have different ideas. And to get all 1.4 million on the same page is an interesting challenge. And in all honesty, and the senior leaders right here in the room, getting all of our senior leaders on the same page is a real problem. You talk about we're gonna have to break plates. I think it might be my head they break first rather than the plates. But you know, I'm persistent, and if I believe in something, I'm gonna keep trying as long as I can, as long as they let me. The board hasn't thrown me out of the room yet. They have given me significant time to report to them and to listen to them. They haven't thrown me away. So we got to keep going down this path until I can get them all convinced. And when I say I, it's not me. It's a whole lot of individuals involved, not only the committee, but all of our subcommittees. And the staff are a big help to us. So there's a lot of people, but you're right, it's a mindset. And we have a lot of traditionalists in this organization. This is the way it is. This is the way it's always been. Why do you want to change it? Okay, that's one mindset. The other mindset is, you know, we're work. We don't need to change anything. Well, those are people I really worry about, because the reality is our organization is facing serious challenges. And if we don't do some things differently, we just aren't going to be what we used to be. And we need to think, what is relevant for today's world? This may not be the answer, but we've got to do some things differently. Too many of our clubs are going to go out of business. That's a reality. You know, we've got clubs, average age 75. It's just a matter of time. So we start new clubs around them, and then we start all over again because we have to train all these new people on what it means to be a Rotarian. If we could just have somebody around the world, those 1,864 of those leaders working right directly with clubs to help them grow, develop, and get motivated. Because we all know, all you need is one good leader in a Rotary Club or a Rotaract Club, and it changes that year. And all you need is one bad leader, and it changes the other way. We need those good leaders, well-trained with good skills, and we could make why aren't we 2 million members? This organization should be 2 million members. And if we've started the job with Rotaract, but if we really do it well and Rotary clubs change their cultures and are more inviting to our young people, then we are going to grow, because Rotaract's going to stay 250,000. But all of those, as they leave, they're going to join a Rotary Club or start their own Rotary Club. And our organization is going to grow for the first time in 20 years.
President Barry, I hope Esther fed you and your happy hour already.
She did. But she's used to my crazy schedule.
Yeah. So you can stay on as long as you want. Wow. You know, we are never gonna be tired of you. And so you tell us. This is the last question, and then we'll shut it off. So it's up.
How about if we do about 10 more minutes? I know Norbert and Dale both have questions they really want to ask. So Norbert's been trying real hard to get a question in.
Okay, go ahead, please, Norbert.
You are unmuted. You are unmuted. Please go ahead. Unmute on your device, please.
Highlight them also, please, Kishan.
Okay. Unmute on your device, please.
Do you understand? It's okay. Dear Barry, I have a question. What is the motivation to install this Shaping Rotary Future Committee? Are the new technology? I think I was treasurer of Rotary International, and the travel, for example, of the committee to go to Evanston was very expensive. I heard that with the new program, you will make 25 million of economics. Is true.
You know, it's interesting. We have already made a lot of changes because of the pandemic that is going to save significant money. Yes. And we had a pandemic task force to look at what Rotary should be doing different in the long term based on what we're doing now. And one example of many, because there's a lot of things that are going to change. One example is that the foundation has seen we can meet every month now instead of every quarter. And we cover as much or more information in a shorter period of time because we have to be efficient on Zoom. And so we're actually doing better and more business more efficiently than we did by having in-person meetings every quarter. So the trustees, and I'm sure the board will follow suit, are already talking about we're not going to go back to having quarterly meetings. We might, if there's an assembly, we might have a meeting at the assembly and a meeting at the convention. And that's it. That hasn't been finalized, but that's the direction we're going. So yes, when you talk about saving money, we could do that. A lot of our committees, the board has just talked about committees and how many committees, and I think they say that we're going to keep to 20 committees. More than half of those could meet online. They never have to go to Evanston. So that's a lot of saving. When you look at the training for the model that I've raised for this new regionalization, we no longer have 538 governors to train in person. Instead, we have maybe 30 to 40 chairmen of the regional boards that we need to train. We just saved $5 million if we do that, okay? So there's I believe, and again, the committee has to develop these details, so I can only go anecdotally at this point, but I believe this model is going to save us significant funds. And the timing of the COVID-19, forgive me, because I know a lot of us have suffered through this, but this couldn't have happened at a better time for us, because this has shown us that we don't have to do things the same old way. We can do things different and still be just as successful, just as productive, just as effective. And we've got to learn from that and do it. And the board is learning and making recommendations as to what we're going to do different in the long run. We've already had a convention with, what, over 60,000 people online. We're going to have an assembly that's going to train all the district governors-elect online. It'll be over a period of days, but we're all staying home. We're not traveling. Imagine the savings. Why can't we do that going forward? In my thinking, and again, this is just me, don't hold my committee, it's just me talking, but going forward, why do we need that assembly? Why not connect it to part of the convention and do something there so that you save significant dollars and you only train chairman-elect of regions instead of every single person in the world. So there's a lot of things that we are talking about changing right now that don't have to go to the Council of Legislation, because those are the ones that challenge us.
We will finish this meeting in about 7 minutes. So we're gonna give the floor for Alderico. You are, let me see.
Dale Knight also has been raising her hand.
Okay, go ahead, Dale.
Thanks, Shab. Thanks, President Barry. Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. And I want to ask you about this model. It's you presented a disintermediation model that is a process of digitalization, I think, because my idea is that, and this is my first question, the future of Rotary will be phygital. I mean, a mix of digital and phygital activities, because many activities you can do online, and we see during this pandemic period where in 10 months we did what generally we do in 10 years. And the second question is about the opportunity. I totally agree what you say about the integration between Rotary and Rotaract. Because I think that Rotary has a great opportunity between to mix this kind of experience between the youngest people that they are digital native and the oldest people with gray hair like us, that we have the experience. You cannot buy the experience, you have to live with it. And my question is the second question is, did you think about the strategy to mix those experience, the both experience? Because I saw that in this last period in our district, 48 clubs was not able to do meeting online, and the best performance was made from the clubs where it was the mix between youngest and oldest member.
You're absolutely right. We are in a digital world, and we only knew that this year. We've been in the digital world for a number of years, but we never really appreciated what it could do for us. But the younger people, they do, and they've lived it. And everywhere I went last year, I met with Rotaract. They're showing me the app on their phone that has all the information of Rotaract in their entire district. And we can't get that for Rotary. So yes, we need the integration so we can, when I talk about Rotaract, I talk a lot about the need. I talk a lot about the need for Rotarians to mentor Rotaractors, but also for Rotaractors to mentor Rotarians. It's a two-way street because they understand today's world better than some of us. And that's absolutely true. But the digital came from COVID, not from our Shaping Rotary's Future. However, that being said, our regional boards will obviously be able to use the digital world in a much better way. An app would be extremely appropriate for a regional board, board in their area to communicate. It'd be fantastic. If they've got a number of leaders with a small number of clubs in their region, an app is going to cover them for excellent communication. But yes, we need the Rotaractors to be integrated so they can show us all how to use those apps. So you're absolutely right. Not all coming from our committee, some coming from this era we live in with the pandemic.
Next, Dale Knight, I am unmute, please.
Thank you very much, President Barry. We met at the first Rotary East Africa Project Fair in Uganda. And my question to you is, I'm very impressed with your presentation. Are you including, as part of your focus groups, the tremendous success that Uganda Rotary and Rotaract are having in growing their clubs in a pandemic situation? Because the numbers are astounding.
Yeah, we're including all parts of the world. And we have a handle to a degree on those areas of the world that are really successful with both foundation giving and with membership development and growth. And those are the people we want to talk to and find out, if we do this, is it going to hurt you or is it going to help you? So yeah, we want to have those focus groups with areas around the world so that we really get good input. We've sent surveys around the world, but you know, surveys, we get it in our email box and we don't all answer them. So we want to do smaller focus groups so we really can get their input on what they think about this and how it could affect them. Absolutely. And Uganda is doing fantastically well. You're right. And thanks for reminding me we met there. That was a fantastic project fair. I remember it well. I think Salvador had a question.
President Barry, it is on the hour. We said 10 minutes.
Hello, Barry. Sorry.
Just let Salvador ask, and that'll be the last question.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, Barry. Greetings from California. One thing that I found through this pandemic is that we're able to be in meetings doing Christmas shopping for the family. So that's very important. So thank you for that. One of the things I want to mention is specifically that every single Rotarian around the world has a group that supports them, and that is the family. And being the flexible in the membership for Rotary International, you know, may want to consider also that we can make our spouses, our sons or siblings who support the Rotary projects all the time, is to be part of membership in Rotary, whether it's Rotaract or Interact, being flexible enough to that we're doing in the membership part of it. The other thing is also the importance of environment, and thank you for bringing this up to Rotary, to the Rotary world, bringing the environment as the seventh area of focus. One thing that we see from our youngsters is that they want to have a result. They want to have the support, not only from the Rotary Foundation, but on all of the actions that they are taking, whether that's a small reforestation project, whether it's a small environmental education, they want some support from us, from Rotary and from Rotary International as well. I know that they are developing a fund specifically for the environment, and that's something really, really important. But we must make it easier to access those funds, and easier for us as Rotarians to be able to donate a little bit faster on that particular area of focus. So again, it's a challenging times. Being flexible is extremely important. Being online, meeting with Rotarians. I met with Shab on the different Rotary meetings at 4 o'clock in the morning with Rotarians in India while I'm at work, or right now I'm doing Christmas shopping and listening to you. So flexibility is extremely important for the future of Rotary. But again, many times our family members are actually Rotarians. They're just simply not doing the specific Rotary Club regulations, if you will. And thank you again for everything you do. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Salvador. You bring up an interesting question about Christmas shopping. If any of you shop on Amazon.com, go to Amazon, smile, and shop. It's exactly the same, but a percentage of everything you buy is donated to the Rotary Foundation. And now that we're all shopping, I mean, I got everything for Christmas on Amazon, and the foundation made some money from it. And you know, we can help our foundation in lots of little ways like that. So Shab, thank you so much for having me tonight. Fantastic audience.
Just as a matter of curiosity, is that Amazon Smile global?
Yes.
So I want to thank you, President Barry, from the bottom of...
Shab, please, Shab, there is a very basic question to Barry Rassin. Please allow me 1 minute. This question is from George Ismail, District 5470, and similar questions are there from others as well. I quote, will be more pieces in the puzzle, which might make it more confusing to those at the club level with the new structure you are proposing? It's a very basic question. Several of the participants have asked this.
There's actually, what we're trying to do is eliminate pieces of the puzzle. So it's a smaller puzzle, and so that it's easier for Rotarians to understand Rotary. We're too complex an organization right now. And you know, with RCs and RFCs and ARCs and all those other Cs, who do you go to for help? Well, let's get rid of them in a cadre where we can draw them down where we need them and have one leader. So we're actually trying to simplify this so that we truly can make an impact on Rotary and Rotaract clubs.
So what's going to happen to the actual cadre?
Well, the actual cadre, I would hope, would ask to be a part of that and be certified and join us. That's where we would start with today's cadre, because they are experts and they do a fantastic job. But they're very focused in one area for the most part. So let's get cadre members in membership, cadre members in everything else we do. So when a club is looking at a problem with conflict, they can call on somebody in the cadre to come help them with conflict. So we really will use cadre today, but expand it into other areas of skill.
And there is one more common question. Will it cost more to Rotarians with this new structure? I'm sorry, Shab. These are very relevant questions.
You're going to cause a divorce here sometime.
Okay. I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a difficult answer to that. Right now we have district dues, club dues, Rotary International dues. The Rotary International dues aren't going to change for now. But the district dues should be morphed into the regional dues. So where the sections have leaders, there's no dues there. It all goes to the region, and the region then determines how to spend those dues. But we believe by doing it this way, you actually do not need as much in the way of dues. Keep in mind, the big cost of being in a Rotary Club is not usually RI dues or district dues. They're the club dues.
We're not amazed of all of the curiosity of you did stir the pot real well tonight, President Barry, and our attendees are really curious to absorb what you're talking about and probably work with it in the future. I want to, first of all, if it wasn't for the attendees, for all the leaders that on this call, for the young people, for the mature Rotarians, for the women, for everyone from every part of the world tonight, it will not be as successful. And our President Barry Rassin have not been probably that interactive. So thank you all for your interaction tonight. President Barry, from the bottom of our heart, we thank you for all you do for our young people, for our organization, and for advancing our organization, the most honorable organization on earth. So thank you again. Kishan, would you please present President Barry with his appreciation token? And for all of you on the call, including Mr. Hayek, it's always good to see you over here. We got trained together at Rotary International. I see a couple other, champions, international champions. So thank you for being here, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate all the work you do on this committee too. So it's good to see you over here, and for all of you, you are people of action, and for all of you, I saw that at a yard sale, and I paid 50 cents for it. It says doing work, God's work pays little, but the retirement benefits are out of the world. And for all of you, our retirement probably is not going to be even on this earth. Maybe it will be in heaven, and we'll see someone that will thank us for whatever we have done. So, President Barry, please accept our token of appreciation. It will get to you electronically. Kishan will send it. And Kishan is one of the clubs that we have, clusters of clubs around the globe right now. 35 here, 35 there, 55 here. So, and that's how we are communicating. And that's why you see people from, 6 continents over here and from different leadership in Rotary. Thank you again from the bottom of our heart, and on behalf of all the Rotarians on this meeting, on behalf of all the young ladies on this meeting, on behalf of the Rotary Act and our youth young professionals. Thank you again for all you do. So Kishan, would you please present that? And that will be the end of the night. You can stay on, and afterwards, this meeting has been recorded on my Facebook live. So the whole thing, and we recorded it. And also somebody asked about the slides. I took snapshots of all the slides, unless President Barry is willing to share his PowerPoint. I think it is an eye-opener for all of us. So if whatever you want, you can connect with us, and then we'll send it to you. But you can go on my Facebook, and it is still going on live right now. So thank you, Kishan.
Thank you, Shab. We are pleased to present the certificate of appreciation. May it be known that Barry Rassin, RI President 2018-19, is hereby awarded the certificate in honor and with deep appreciation for enlightening on shaping Rotary's future. December 16, 2020. President Barry, I would like you to read the last line. Revolution in Rotary.
Not share.
Rotarians.
Can you share? Can you share, Kishan? Can you share that? You're not sharing.
Is it?
I can see it.
Oh, you just.
Yes.
Oh, you could see it. Sorry. Okay. I don't see it. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Because you were on the spotlight. That's why I couldn't. President Barry, I think you could see it. Yes.
I saw it. Yes. You're saying I'm a revolutionary.
Yes. That's the word we coined, me and Shab coined for you.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm going to need some people to hold me up when they try to shoot me down.
We're going to run in all different directions.
I can tell you, when you came to my district to address on my request of a club president, there was a revolution in the district and in my zone. How can a president of a club can invite RI president directly without going to district governor and the directors and others? And you are now leading that revolution. You were on, that's why I was saying, I don't remember, I cannot forget 4th April, which was just a lockdown start. And when I wrote, you replied in 10 minutes to my request.
Yeah,
sorry, Kishan, but he replied to mine in 5 minutes. Isn't that right, Barry?
Well, thank you all. And that will conclude our meeting, but you can stay on, chat with each other and introduce each other to each other. So, and we will leave this open for as long as you want.
And also leave your contacts in the chat so we can connect each other. Please leave your contact in the chat.
And if you see
Thank you very much.
Yes, please chat with each other. We're open. So President Barry, would you please tell prior First Lady, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And may this holiday be healthy and safe for all of you on this call. And if you have lost someone, our heart is with you. If we lost any Rotarians, our heart is with them, with the family. So thank you again for being on this call. You all are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Shab. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you soon, I hope.
All the best.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
Marcelo, is good. How's your family? You are muted. Let me see if I can unmute you.
I'm unmuted. Please unmute on your Marshall. Please unmute on your device. You are unmuted already.
Unmute everybody, please. Unmute everybody.
Everybody's unmuted.
Chabi, are you working now?
Yes, yes. Marcelo, go ahead. How's your family?
We are so good. We are in Brazil. We are good now and looking for the vaccines now to control the pandemic. And I believe that everyone here is expecting the vaccine. Now that's next step, to control all these difficult moments for us. And thank you, everyone, to be interested to discuss the committee. And I hope that all the content and all the message that Barry present us now could effectively be part of the changing process. Thank you so much to see you all. Thank you.
Marcelo, will you?
Thank you, Mario.
Marcelo, will you accept an invitation to come to our district to talk about this? Marcelo, will you accept an invitation to come to our district to discuss some of this?
Yes, I believe that next year we will start with the focus groups, with senior leaders, and I believe that all this process basically will go to districts and clubs in the near future. The idea now is to organize a better planning to start the discussion next year. Of course.
I want to welcome Alderico. He's one of our past first national champion. So thank you for being here tonight. Good to see you again.
Very great meeting, very interesting and amazing project. Hope to give my contribution to it because it's absolutely interesting.
Thank you. And I've seen past Governor Michel Jazar. I don't know if he left or not. I just seen him. I don't know if he's still here. So if not,
he said hello to you in the beginning.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Hi, Shab.
Hello, Shireen.
Hi, Shab. Yeah, Brescia.
Hi, Shireen. How you doing?
Hello,
How you feeling?
Yes, I'm feeling better. Recover from COVID now slowly. I'm now very active. After 1 month of this COVID is over for me. Anyway, I want to take this opportunity to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This is CP Shireen Bond from Rotary Cup Dhaka Royal Bangladesh 3281. So I wish everybody healthy, stay safe. And also, Shab, sorry, I just joined because I didn't know there was a meeting. I'm very interested in this road track topic because, you know, Bangladesh, we have a big, usually we have a big kind of like membership here. Yeah, so keep me updated. And also, I saw our PDG, Dato Mustafa. He's from Hello. Yeah, sorry. I think I missed somewhere. I just want to say again, stay safe, stay healthy. And also, I think I saw our PDG, Mustafa Ma from Malaysia. So maybe he can usually say hello to us. I'm missing him for many years. Yeah, PDG, Mustafa, are you here? Hi, Krishna.
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hi, PDG Mustafa.
Hello? Hello, I'm off.
Yes, now we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Looks like I'm disconnected. Hello?
No, we can hear you. Go ahead, please, PDG Mustafa.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All the best, all the best.
Thank you.
Did you?
Sí, ¿qué? La cuenta no.
Thank you, DG
Mario.
Hola, perdón.
Hola.
Gobernador Mario.
Sí, muchas gracias. Estaba aquí atendiendo algo, pero estuve ahí atento. Muchas gracias.
Excelente, gobernador. Excelente. Gracias por estar
Un
con
abrazo.
nosotros.
No.
Igualmente. Igualmente. He said hello and he was a very interesting presentation from our past president.
Thank you. Sandeep from SDG Chopal, thank you for being here. That's 4 days in a row. Thank you very much for your. Thank you,
Shireen,
Sandeep.
you sang so well in the music fest. Shireen,
usually, thank you so much, Kishan. Thank you for the opportunity. But you know, the second day was really like, because you know, me and Corina usually don't have a practice because I was not there. I was not usually, I was in a hotel. So, you know, I think the second day I didn't do well. But anyway, thanks for the opportunity. And also, I really enjoyed it.
But I tell you, some participants asked me later that where did they practice? She's in Bangladesh, she's in Singapore. How do they practice?
No, we didn't practice at all. Usually, no. Because, you know, I didn't have a second device. So I couldn't play the music. So I asked Corina, I said, can you help me, please, just to play the music? Yeah, but I understand that, you know, the regular practice singing through the video and usually the live is usually very much different. So anyway, we learned from there. But it's excellent. Thank you very much for such a wonderful program, you know. I think you people are really creative, you know, like non-stop creating a group, fellowship, road tracks, peace, you know, everything is related. So what is next now? I'm so excited to know
you
what
will
is
hear
next.
very soon. You will hear very soon.
Yeah.
Risha, I took liberty to play your video in few meetings. And
Absolutely.
Yes, they were all amazed to see what is how it is done. I said,
Oh,
you have to pay money to understand how it is done.
oh, good, good, good.
have,
You can do a fundraiser or something. We can raise some
Yeah,
money.
let's think about
Well,
good idea, Priscilla, good idea.
Yes.
Think of a fundraising now. We do
Yeah.
fundraising in the group.
We can raise
Maybe
some money with that.
Yeah, yeah. Do some
Patricia,
money
it's good
and
to
do
see
for
you in
something.
Shab.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
Merry
Stay
Christmas.
safe.
Yeah.
And we love you.
Un abrazo.
Un abrazo, corazón, que el día del festival canté una canción de Roberto Carlos. Cantamos una canción de Roberto Carlos. Ya, brasileña la canción. Por ahí está. Por ahí está en el festival, en el grupo de festival. Ahí está el video.
Voy a buscar el video.
The song we sing in the festival was from a singer from Brazil, Roberto Carlos, and it's what I was telling Alberto.
Let me guess what? A Million Friends.
A Million Friends, correct.
There you go.
A Million Friends, yes.
There you go.
It was funny. Great. Everybody was singing everywhere, including me, but was funny. It was great. It was great.
It was very melodious, not very melodious.
Merry Christmas to everybody. I go to
Merry
sleep.
Christmas.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, thank
Buon
you.
Natale, Alderico.
Buon Natale.
Hello, Rotarian Sainath. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Kishanji. It's a very good program. Thank you for invite.
Ciao.
And, nice to meet all of you.
Nice to meet you.
Ciao.
Yeah, Rotarian Alberto and Shab El-Awar. Good to see you.
Good to see you
Thank
too.
you. Yeah, how are you, Alberto?
Very good.
Yeah, good.
From Brazil.
It's early morning for us. It's about 7:30 now, 8 o'clock.
It's midnight here now, so it is your time now. Now I'm the one that is being late. So
yeah, it's good to see. Yeah, good to see you, Alberto. Bye bye. Thank you, Kishanji.
Ciao.
My pleasure.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll believe. Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Ciao.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New
You-
Year.
Happy holidays.
Thank you very much.
Christmas to everybody.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Christiane. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas
Thank you.
to you. Family.
Merry Christmas, Dad.
All the best.
Thank you for your
We're going to have an end of the year party in my club tomorrow. I mean, 20 hours. Let me see, 44 hours from now.
Wow.
Okay.
So,
we are planning on another singing event, probably in 3 months. So
okay.
that will be the Rotary Acts in Europe and Africa. We're all invited anyway, but that's the last one, the last region that we said we will do another conference there. So Shireen, you can add your Rotary Act over there also.
Yeah, share me the link or the registration. Yeah, I really love. Yesterday I spoke to the DRA. Yeah.
Yes, in the planning.
Yesterday I spoke to the DRA. Yeah, district rep. Yeah. Wow, that's nice.
Oh, great.
Alberto, you are busy politicking, so you missed the whole meeting. You were playing politics.
Yes. I was doing my civic duty.
You can play now. You have the guitar with you. We can listen.
It's not.
It's a morning to me in Bangladesh. I will enjoy your morning melody now.
This is called a cuatro, but I just realized I had not played it for about a month, and I just realized that one string came off. Next time.
Alberto, you play the guitar?
Wow. Yes, this is our Venezuelan guitar. It's called a cuatro. It's because of the 4 strings. It is actually the remains of the very first guitar, what was called a guitar when the Spaniards came to America in the 16th century.
Wow.
So we kept it, and they put 2 additional strings. And here in Brazil, they are more exaggerated. They put 7 strings. So,
yeah.
But
excellent.
Yeah. Kavila, you join later. Kavila, where are you from? Rotarian Kavila?
Rotarian Kavita.
Kavita, okay. Where are you from? We have Vicky and Kavita. Both, we did not hear from you.
Hello, I'm from India.
Well, can you open your video, please, Kavita?
Yes, wait a minute.
We are waiting.
It's too early in India.
Yes. Hello, good morning.
It's 9 o'clock in Bangladesh now in the morning. Yeah.
It's
all right.
8:37 here in Belgaum. I'm
all
from
right.
India.
Welcome, Kavita.
Thank you,
Kavita.
thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
Our club is doing a global grant in Belgaum, so
okay.
Hopefully we'll see each other one day.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you people.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Sure.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
And who's that, Vicky or Ricky? Ricky Cheng? Ricky, where are you from? All right. And Futan. Who's that? Geraldine from Futan?
Jaslyn.
Okay.
Okay, Lisman Singh, please put your video on. Yes. Here you go.
Yes, sir. I'm in India, sir. India, Kanyakumari.
Well, good. Thank you for being here.
He is there all around. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Well, guys, ladies, friends, you have a beautiful, beautiful evening. We always will enjoy you. And if you leave this Zoom, you'll be still in our mind and our heart. So thank you very much. And you have a great holidays. Kishan, thanks a lot for your help again. Sandeep, thank you for your commitment. My wife, Pricia, thank you for putting with me. Alberto, thank you again. Mario, always a support. Thank you. So all of you, you have a beautiful, beautiful evening. And
you too, guys.
Thank you.
Big hug for all of you.
Send to you.
Thank you.
To everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
to everybody.
Sending my love to everyone.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye. Yeah.
Thank you.
Gran abrazo para todos.
Un abrazo, corazón.
Chao.
Bada bing.
Remember how we finished the meetings? 3, 2, 1.
We finished the meeting like